But welcome to another episode of Exploring AI with yours truly. We are on episode 6 now, where we're going to be looking at objects and trinkets, and we're going to be using the typical tools we decided to leverage for this series. We're going to look at ChatGPT, assuming it's available. It seems to be having some issues right now. And we're also going to be jumping into some MidJourney, which is the tool that we decided to leverage to look at creating some various objects, see what happens. Good to see you, everybody. Thanks for hopping in live. Thanks for, if you have any ideas for some object ideas, do drop it in the chat. We might take it and see what we can create with that. If not, ChatGPT, if it comes back online, it looks like it went down for a split second there. We're going to see what we can create today. So we'll be looking in the future, and I may go back and update some of our past videos to include various imagery just to have a visual when people see the thumbnails. So I hope the thumbnail that I had put out for this episode was a little bit more attractive than the previous ones where it was just kind of text. But yeah, let's jump into it. We have, again, we're going to try to keep these episodes to about an hour long as we play with these tools to give some folks out there, whether you be artists that are looking for some ideas, maybe you need to flesh out some reference details, or maybe you're, say, a fan of tabletop RPGs and you need some ideas for various objects that your party might be able to find and pick up. I think AI is going to be a very interesting and for the most part, you know, all the political or controversy aside, a very interesting tool to explore to help create and spark some intrigue, not only within yourself as maybe someone who needs this stuff, but for those that you may be involved in various projects or hobbies and whatnot. So yeah, we're doing good today. It is raining pretty hard outside, so I hope we don't have any sort of network issues popping up here, but let's jump down and get into it, shall we? So as I was mentioning, ChatGPT currently is having some high demand. I guess during the day is not the best time to play with ChatGPT. It definitely seems to be experiencing more traffic during the day than in the evening, in my experience at least. But let's refresh and see if they're down, or if it is a issue of just me not resetting. Nope. All right. So unfortunately, ChatGPT is at capacity. We're going to have some issues with that, and we'll have to come up with our own ideas, which is, you know, it's fine. We do that all the time. So we'll go ahead and leverage what we can. If you missed out on our episodes yesterday, I think if you're going to check out any of them, the one to check out would be the reaction video I had done for the video done by Vox. It was a very well-made video that was about 13 minutes long. We added about another 50 minutes of commentary as I shared my experience with AI tools from the technical world in business and IT security. And we also talked a little about, I don't know, would you call it philosophical thoughts around just how we learn versus how AI learns, and some of the differences of perspectives, right? So if you haven't checked it out, do check out episode 5. Let me know what you thought. Leave a comment. I'm definitely interested in hearing everyone's thoughts, and maybe if you have some ideas for future episodes, do leave a comment below. All right. Well, since words. Oh my God, brain fart. ChatGPT is down. We'll go ahead and take a look at, where should we go? Where should we go? Well, I suppose we'll switch over to Discord, where we'll be looking at our MidJourney, and we'll start playing with some ideas here. So when we think about objects and trinkets, right? And my throat's actually a little weird this morning, so I got some coffee here to try to warm me up. If I have to mute and you hear a little silence, that's probably just me dying in the background. But if we think about objects and trinkets, right? Objects immediately, I'm thinking like some clockwork devices. I'm thinking maybe some potions, or God, what kind of gadgets? Maybe a clockwork gadget would be cool. Yeah, maybe we'll explore that. I'm interested to see kind of what kind of clockwork device MidJourney will be able to make. Is it going to be looking super steampunk, or are we going to get some kind of a more of a fantasy art style? We could obviously try to direct it with some keywords, but at the moment, right, we're trying to use these tools in a pretty raw form. We might add some keywords to fine tune it depending on what kind of results we're going to get. But you know what, maybe just to start off, let's just see what it does if I just say object. And if I think about trinkets, what do I think about? I'm thinking when it comes to trinkets, I'm thinking like an amulet, or maybe actually, so I play a lot of Hunt Showdown, so oftentimes, or not even oftentimes, recently they've been adding these little trinkets, right, that'll go on the side of your weapon. And I know past FPS games have done very similar things. Oh, we got a suggestion perhaps. I've had an artificer who made the backpack that grew spider legs to buff. Ooh, that's an interesting little Dr. Octavius, I think was the name. That's a neat idea. Yeah, we might be able to look at something like that. But let's see here, MidJourney. What did you just do? When I type in object, it's actually given us some interesting perspectives here. We got, what in the world is going on in that first image? We got some fruits and very colorful, actually, very pastel color. Top right's actually super cool. It's like a blend of literally a blender, a coffee maker, and a telephone. What a bizarre idea that is. Bottom left looks like something you'd find maybe in a old God, what's Sherlock Holmes? What style would you call that environment? That would be what, like industrial era? I don't know, but definitely has a bit of an old school kind of vibe to it. And then the bottom right is definitely some old school looks there. But otherwise, maybe that's just the coloring, but it looks like a little trash heap of items. All right, interesting. So, oh yeah, Victorian, that's the word. Yeah. Victorian, steampunk for sure. Yeah, talking to people who like tabletop RPGs is always fun because they got all sorts of vocabulary and ideas in their head, don't they? I enjoy it. I'm pretty bad with a lot of things, but hey, we work with what we got. All right, so yeah, let's try a couple ideas here. So let's go with a steampunk gadget. What is that gonna be? But let's go with a steampunk clockwork gadget. Let's see what that does. And then we'll take your idea and go with I wonder if I type in artificer, if it'll know what that is. Artificer backpack. Do we want to call it steampunk? I worry that if I say spider legs, it's going to give us some monstrosity with spider legs. Let's just see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll fine tune it if we need to. All right, interesting. This already kind of looks like some kind of a backpack on the top here, but very, very interesting. I wonder if we can direct it to less of a 3D rendering looking item to more of a artistic kind of fantasy style, depending on who's going to be using this or how you're going to be leveraging references. We may maybe go to an artist and say, hey, can you take these concepts and turn it into some art for a project? Or maybe if you're just running a D&D campaign, you just need to show your buddies an idea, you could try to tweak the result here to get something that's a little bit more resembling of what you look for. Bottom left could make a good companion for a construct. I could see that. Yeah, you push a little button and right? Reminds me of the floating ball from Halo. Yeah, I could see that. All right, well, let's see here. Ooh, look at that. That's kind of freaky. That's a little freaky. The top ones are definitely a little weird. Man, it's that James Bond vehicle. You tell it to self-drive towards you. That top left, it's gonna skitter up to you, climb up your back, and attach itself. Although I'm really digging that bottom left one. That bottom left one looks like it could be used in a variety of ways. Maybe even the spider could detach from it, right? And it could be like a bit of a companion that just kind of hangs out on the edge of your backpack. The right side definitely has a bit more of a horror kind of eldritch look to it, but you say weird, I love them. Yeah, I mean, I say weird, but no, it's fascinating. It's definitely it definitely, what's the word? Tickles the brain, right? So it is MidJourney for me at least has been very interesting just to really tease your imagination because you might have ideas and directions, but it's all you can only really work with the ideas and references that you know from what you've seen, art you've seen, people you've talked to, right? MidJourney just takes it from all sorts of wild directions. And I remember talking to a few folks when it comes just the simple ideas like, YouTube content creators. It's like, man, you are mentioning all these people that I've never even heard of, and they've been around for years and years and years, right? That's a bit of a limitation in my experience, at least, with just the human element, which is you're really limited to the scope of what you've been able to discover, right? But these AI tools have such a wide range of, I guess, input that you can get some output that is just all over the place. Really, really, really neat. Yeah, scary to see a gnome climbing a building. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, a little gnome on there. The backpack would probably be as big as they are. All right. All right. Definitely interesting. I'm definitely fascinated how, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if you've ever played with these tools, right? I feel like different prompts kind of give you very similar default output, right? And I talked about this in one of my past episodes, where one of the problems that I saw with past AI products, tools, is that at the beginning when it's learning, it's kind of weird, it's kind of abstract, it's kind of all over the place. There's this golden period somewhere in the middle of its life cycle where it's solid, it's super creative, it's super imaginative, it does all sorts of wild things. Typically what I see happening is when that starts blowing up, people start adding, like the developers will start adding kind of buffer lanes, or not buffer lanes, barriers, bumper lanes to restrict certain outputs, right? So for example, like MidJourney, you're not allowed to do any sort of like nudity or, I don't know if they have limitations around like super gory stuff, right? But they put restrictions on super controversial keywords. And what I find with AI tools is that you want to limit what can be output, but you don't want to limit the generation that it could do in behind the scenes, because what that'll do is it'll start funneling the AI logic into very common trends, which this was obvious when it came to like adventure AI tools like Dungeon AI and Novel AI are ones that I've talked about before, where after it's been out for like a year, you start seeing really repetitive or just like after you do 300 prompts, it really just starts funneling into common trends of ideas and outputs, which is a bit limiting, right? It really stifles the creativity of these tools, or at least the quote unquote creativity these tools are capable of. So, excuse me. So I am a little curious, right? Because even these two prompts have this kind of, it's defaulted to kind of this 3D rendered appearance. And well, we can try playing with some keywords to modify that, but we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. So what do we want to maybe experiment with here? As far as the first bet, you know what? I really like this bottom left. It kind of has this, it almost has a like a League of Legends arcane vibe, doesn't it? It has, I think the colors maybe lend to it. I think this kind of orange and blue and cyberpunk mix kind of blends into a bit of a League of Legends vibe. And then Lich King, I could see Lich King. Yeah, I could see that. There's definitely, right. Again, this is like my exposure. My brain is looking at that, being like, huh, League of Legends. But based on your exposure, you might be thinking, Lich King. Yeah. So definitely, right, we are limited by a bit of our understanding of what we've seen. But let's make some variations of number. How do I want to do this? Do we want to upscale it and then add keywords, or do we want to just start with a new? Let's try just taking the same keywords. And why does it do that? I didn't even start with timeout. All right. So if we do artificer backpack with spider legs, comma, let's go with, God, what would be a good fantasy concept. Fantasy concept. I wonder if it'll understand TTRPG. Drawing, I feel like that's a bit of a weak keyword, but I don't want to go with like hyper stylized. So let's see what that will give us. Also, speaking of Lich King, just as an idea, I wonder if we add Lich King, what would happen? Is it going to add us an entire Lich King as part of the concept here? Let's add concept in there too, see what it does. All right, we can already kind of see a couple of these are going to have a bit of a sketchbook look to it. Oh man, the legs are getting longer. Ooh, look at that. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you could already imagine, right? If you're say running a D&D campaign or a tabletop RPG campaign, you could just take these ideas here and just be like, hey, it's the creativity is in the campaign. This is just reference material to give a vibe or a visual to something that you've thought about. But that bottom left one, I'm digging that bottom left one. It's like a sketchbook with a long ass legs. Ooh. Bottom left will make terrifying ooh, that's a great idea. It's a backpack mimic. Ooh, let's do that. Backpack mimic. I wonder if it understands what mimic would be though. Let's go with backpack TTRPG mimic. Oh, that's gonna be is that gonna be terrifying? I don't know. All right, that prompt is going. This top right one gives me an interesting idea where it's, you know what, a couple of these actually, even that top left one gives me the idea that, hey, there's something going on in that center where the legs can actually like weave webs, right? The top right one does a bit of a good job where it's adding these little white lines coming out of it. It gives me this, it sparked the idea that what if it's not just the backpack going on somebody, but the legs, right, exist because of, some reason. And the backpack is capable of like creating webbing. Ooh, that takes it to another level right there. You could do so much with that. You have a player who you've given PTSD of decoration items like carpets, plates, napkins, you name it. Backpack mimic would make him leave the table. Pocket companion. Ooh, pocket companion. Oh man. That is a fun idea right there. Definitely what's fun about these when people hop in is that we can get some wild ideas that personally like I've never heard of. I've never experienced. It depends on who you're playing with, right? Their creativity. That's what I love about D&D. It's a super collaborative good time where you get, anywhere from 3 to 8 people together. I usually keep it to a 4 or 5 players at the table type of a deal, but yeah, different people and their different degrees of creativity and ideas, and the more D&D they've played with different people, the more exposure they've had. It's fun. I enjoy that kind of explosion of ideas with the exposure that you get with others. Man, that bottom right one has like a heart or something into it, or maybe it's like an infection. I don't know. Oh man, my chest has been not great this morning. All right, looks like our other image also finished. Let's see what it did. Ooh. So just by adding Lich King concept, I could see some of these being up, like that top right one with a little flavor going on with just unnecessary things that are floating around. Right? Yeah. Definitely. If anything, these tools have been a way to just really give you some really good imagination and ideas. That bottom left one too looks like a scientist experiment gone wrong. Bottom right, I love the little blue that they've added. Definitely, I guess Lich. When you think of Lich, I guess there is a lot of trends of it being kind of this dark grayish blue color, right? And then the magical like undead energy is typically like a bluish purple. in my experience. I wonder what will maybe if I add like blood magic to one of these prompts, see what kind of difference. So this was a backpack table RPG mimic. Oh, it's tried to add text. It doesn't do a great job with text, but I'm not really seeing the mimic. I don't know if it understood the mimic, but that top left one I could see it being a creature. The rest of them, I'm not really convinced about the rest of them, but that top left one definitely has some potential there. Yeah, you could see that just like opening up, and where the zipper, right? You can kind of see a zipper there. It just opens up and tries to chomp at you. I can see it. I can definitely see it. I actually really like that one. Let's upscale that. Let's actually upscale a couple of these and get a closer look. Now, remember that when you go to upscale, it does like another iteration of it. So there likely will be some changes made because of that. But let's see. Yeah, what do we dig in here? Is there one? Maybe we'll save on this one here. Well, what did I say here? Oh, you know, these left ones with the little sketchbook. Let's get both of those. Let's see what those actually look like a bit larger. I'm super digging this bottom right or bottom left one. And then I think for like an object trinket, this bottom left one being kind of this more of a box that you can carry around and place somewhere and maybe activate. I think that's an interesting idea. Let's take a look at those. Final Fantasy character, the guy with the wizard hat? Yeah. That is, actually, which one are you referring to here? This is, gosh, this is the one problem trying to interact with chat when I'm scrolling around. Is it, you talking about this one here? Plus, we got to deal with the delay. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I actually, I didn't notice this earlier, but obviously we got some items and things hanging off the backpack, which is very cool. But this one just has like a little lantern torch. It kind of gives me, I don't know if anyone's been playing Dark and Darker. It's a new hardcore like fantasy extract game, but kind of gives me an idea of that. A little fire hanging off the backpack. Definitely something that like a mage or somebody would be using. I could see it for sure. All right, let's see what these upscaled versions look like. All right, that's going to finish here in a second. Ooh. Oh, I've done one too many. Where is it? Where is it? It's all moving around too quick. All right, so Backpack Tabletop RPG Mimic. Oh, it's... Wait, did I click the wrong one? I did click the wrong one. Whoops. Number 1 is what we want. I was like, well, that doesn't look anything like what I remember seeing. But you know what? It has fleshed it out a little bit, where you got some like paper notes and stuff just stacked everywhere. The bottle looks like it's containing a bit more concentrated energy. It's actually funny. A second ago, I was looking at the center where these two like little miniature books are just like resting on it. Looking at the previous image, I was like, what are those, like sticks of butter that they just placed on there? Come on. Oh, all right. We go down here and yeah, see, so definitely has a bit of a different vibe. Ooh, man, this is weird. Wait, hold on. Did I click the wrong one for that one too? What did I click on? That was oh yeah, I clicked 1 and 2, not 1 and 3. Whoops. I think I kind of like this one though, now that I'm looking at it. Obviously there's a section of the arm that got cut off, but this almost looks like an infection. This is like some sci-fi. This almost looks like some sci-fi Resident Evil stuff. Ooh, that's freaky. How weird is that? Ooh, this is like once you put the backpack on, it integrates with your nervous system. You can't take it off. Ooh, this is a whole taking cursed item to a whole new level. That is freaky. Definitely something. Ooh. Ooh, if you ever have like a horror campaign, this is something that will be wild. A spider pack. Yeah, no joke. What's up? What's up? Yeah, you put the backpack on, arms suddenly jet out of it. You can control it with your mind. It's like a living creature. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that bottom, the bottom of the backpack, that looks like the potential eldritch horror of a face. Some ungodly spider creature that's now like, hi friend. The one with spinning legs, giving good concept. Town gets hit with a sickness. No one's know why. In reality, it's been new guy walking around with spreading the poison with his legs. Oh my god. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Ah. Creepy. My Twitter got suspended. Uh that sucks. But yeah, this definitely is that's something. That's something right there. Oh man, this is why I love these episodes too, exploring these different tools and trying out different ideas, is because I run D&D campaigns from time to time, right? I join them from time to time. This just by the fact that I've been exposed to this, it's gonna be somewhere in the back of my head from now on. Just the fact that there's a spider creature, eldritch, whatever, and the little lions, it just digs into your back, it goes up into your brainstem and integrates with you. Ugh. Creepy, creepy, creepy. Interesting. This one got changed a little bit. It's looking a bit more, I don't know what you would call it, but it's definitely looking a bit more, kind of gives me like a Tron vibe almost. But yeah, what's going on here? It's like maybe it's like an insect that can integrate with objects. That's a different take on it. Yeah, it's some kind of a parasite that doesn't integrate with organic creatures, but it integrates with inorganic creatures. Ooh, almost throws off Warlock starter kit. That's an idea, man. You go ahead and start a new campaign. It's like it's an Eldritch D&D campaign where everyone's starting equipment is somehow already just cursed from the get-go. Oh, that would be a hell of a one shot right there. Pack of Spider-Man would have. Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The what is it? There's a name for it, right? It's like this the one where Venom and Spider-Man kind of merge a little bit. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Definitely. Yeah, if Spider-Man, also if you ever took the concept of Spider-Man and turned him into a D&D character or something. I wonder if I should ever do a talk about some of the D&D drama, right, with Hasbro and Dungeons and Dragons, and I know there was some BS that was going on with Critical Role too. I've got opinions about it just from the corporate side of it because Hasbro's doing Hasbro business BS. Not a fan of it personally, but I do actually think that the idea of like an open tabletop RPG system would be a great. Yeah, is it OGL? Oh no, it's terrible. Damn. I just started seeing news about OGL today, and I was thinking about maybe exploring that idea because I do like the idea of having like an open variant that it's not made by a company, it's made by the people, right? And it's collaborated on. I talked about this yesterday in my in reviewing that video, where it's like there in the tech world we have a lot of like open projects, right? Open AI or open XYZ, right? Depending on what the field of study is. I think more creatives need to have like open blank projects where it's like a bunch of people can feed in ideas, and then there's like the trusted section of the community or seniors of the community who can, people will decide like, hey, you guys be our moderators, and then they kind of fine tune based on all the input coming in and make just a tabletop RPG system for the people. Now, obviously, there's people who have ideas and they'll go to like Kickstarter or whatnot and make their own kind of one-off books with their ideas. But it's not. I think the one mistake creatives often make is that they try to fine tune it to their creative direction, not so much create a template that can be explored in a lot of different ways, right? So I do this with the campaign that we had run on our channel, the Horizon Exploration campaign, where we're really just using the 5e system as a framework, right? Everything else is really just kind of homebrewed, and it's really just used as reference. I mean, because all you need is a die, right? You just need a D20, maybe some alternatives if you want to do some fancy stuff with weapons. A part of me is actually thinking about just taking just go with a standard D20 campaign, and everything else is just homebrewed and fluff and flavor. I don't know. I think more people need to explore just the creativity side of it. Guidelines then rules. Yeah. I think more people should look at it like that and have the flexibility to be like, hey, a bow is a D6, a heavy crossbow is a D8, and it doesn't have to be a bow or a crossbow. It can just be, hey, a light ranged weapon is a D6, a heavy ranged weapon is a D8, right? You could just do general concepts like that and then let your imagination and the flavor and the theme that you're going for just overwrite everything. I don't know. I think more people should explore that. I think there's a lot of creativity and fun that could be had there. But coming back, let's see. Okay, this has been a little bit more fleshed out. This definitely has a bit more of a, I don't know if I'd call it cyberpunk. It actually went to more of a sci-fi look, I would say, but has a bit of a blend of, man, I kind of like this. I think I might save this for later. But that is cool. Yeah, you can kind of see also in the top half, the arms kind of fold in. I got tired of everyone asking what potions heal, so it just took Monster Hunter concept of mega potion. Yeah, dude, you're right. Yeah, just make it simple, make it easy for the players, because the purpose isn't to spend half an hour debating a rule or trying to figure out, what something is, how something is described, or like this is the problem I have also with the constant addition of like expansions, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, new updates and new traits and features, which are great to give ideas to people who maybe don't have the ability to create ideas on the fly, or maybe they just want to pull references from the rules as written, quote unquote, of sorts. But at the same time, I like the idea of going to player and be like, okay, you have a character. What kind of character you want to play, right? We can start with the basics of class, of race, of backstory, right? But then from there, it's like, okay, well, based on that kind of visual that you have in your mind, what are, say, like 3 cool things that your character is known to do or can do? Or like, what are 2 things that they would do that is unique to their like ability and what they've learned, like skills and stuff? And then what's maybe something that's a bit more of a secret, something that maybe will be as part of like a climax event, or something that is like, I'm in danger, I need to do this now type of a deal, right? And just roll with that. And then, part of it is also the one running the game and being able to expand on it and giving players items and maybe abilities, or who knows, right? It's a very creative endeavor. I love exploring it. It's a lot of fun. All right, but I like this one. I definitely think this is a very straightforward kind of idea that you could kind of take and run with. Not a whole lot of craziness to go with, but I wonder what I would do with that top part of the bag. It has that kind of design on it. I wonder what I would say about that. Because I could see like the 2 circular lenses you see at the bottom. Those could be like, quote unquote, the spider's eyes, right? But it could also just be used as, I don't know if you could use that or translate. I guess you could go to like an artist and be like, hey, I like the position of these, but I want it to be more like a jetpack, right? So maybe those would be like little thrusters or something. But yeah, the top part, what's on top of the bag, is that just like a fancy design? I don't know what I would say about that just yet. But yeah, at the moment, I guess you can call it a fancy design. You got some side pockets there. Yeah, there's something you could do with that. That one is great. It has the artificer mechanical pet, where the top half could be a cat. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, there could be something to that where it's like it's like a magic circle type of a deal, but it's more like an artificer circle of sorts, where it helps to channel the energies of that artificer ability, whatever it may be. You can't explain through inventions. Yeah, there's some magical touch to it, right? Yep. Yeah, great ideas. All right, the little clockwork gadget box. We definitely see a little bit more intricacy in the design here that's been fleshed out as part of the upscaling. You know what you could even do with this? This could be like a puzzle box. This is something that I've always had a hard time with when it comes to D&D, is trying to get ideas for puzzle boxes. Because what I've done in the past to kind of brainstorm is like, I'll use the different kind of puzzles that you'll find on the internet. Gosh, what's that guy's name that does a lot of those hard puzzles? His channel is blown up. Was it Chris Ramsey? I think it was Chris Ramsey was the guy. If you guys haven't heard of Chris Ramsey, do it. I'm not gonna plug it during these episodes, but he's if I got the name right, they do all sorts of like custom puzzles, hard to find puzzles. He spent like 10K on a puzzle, 40K on a puzzle, and it's little procedural, or maybe there's like internal mazes or all sorts of stuff. But there's definitely a lot of puzzle concepts that I've kind of thought about. It's like, man, how can I turn this small little puzzle concept into like a puzzle for a dungeon, right? So I remember in one campaign I did, there was 5 pillars scattered within the dungeon, and only a particular player could interact with each one, and they had to be interacted with in a particular order to then activate a web portal, like a gateway, which was it worked out pretty well. I enjoyed it. Don't know if you played Devil May Cry, but the fourth one, they have a briefcase that turns into weapons. Same concept, open it up, pull out an Eldritch Cannon. I haven't played Devil May Cry, but I have seen a few of the weapons from others playing the game. My favorite was the motorcycle that turns into like 2 maces that you just swing around and the wheels are like vroom, vroom. Devil May Cry definitely has gone into a crazy direction. Also, I played the old school Perfect Dark game, which was a old Nintendo 64, I think it was. And they had one of my most memorable favorite weapons was a briefcase that you can throw and it'll land on like the ground or the wall, and it would create a little automated like briefcase turret. Yeah, Kieran, you know what's up. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. That's a great stuff, guys. Oh yeah. All right. But yeah, I could see this being a little puzzle box, right? There's a little at the bottom left, I can see something that you might turn. Looks like at the top left center, there's something that you might push. There's a variety of, gadgets and gears that might twist and turn. At the front, there's like a little compass looking object. I'm not sure what that could be, but I could see it. This could even just be like a little steampunk music box with what almost looks like what could be speakers in the front. So yeah, definitely a lot of ideas here. All right, I think we had a couple more. Here we go. All right, it's changed it a little bit. I kind of prefer that center glowy item to be like the amber gem from the earlier iteration, but it's added some weird coil in the center, which is a bit too bad, but it's fine, right? Again, if you really like these types of concepts, you might consider going to an artist if it's something that needs to be commercialized and be like, hey, this was a very interesting idea. Can you expand on it, right? I think that's a good way to approach these types of tools. But yeah, definitely you can see that there's some kind of a living aspect or an organic aspect. I could see this being like a rucksack that you find like in the somewhere in like an ocean setting, right? And you take it out and it's like, oh, look at this. I found the bag, and you open it up and it's a creature. Don't know if you flip open that coil like a clasp eye. Ooh, that's an idea. Look at you. Yeah, Carmine with all the good ideas here. Yeah, you got a creative head on you. Good stuff. I could see that. Yeah. The coil opens up and it's completely unexpected, but it starts blinking at you somehow. Oh, that's a weird idea. That's spooky. Yeah, I like this idea though. This is definitely, it's a little different from the typical like mimic concepts, right? Because typically mimic concepts, you see crates and books, I think are where my mind typically go to. But the idea of a backpack being a mimic is actually so appropriate. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And this is the last. Ooh, I like how this one got fleshed out. Look at that. Look at that. It even, and this one actually worked out pretty well. AI generated works are a little tricky sometimes with like the background reference sketches or the text that gets drawn. This one's actually super well done by the AI here. It kind of shows, maybe it's some kind of a creature it's latched on and basically again like fused with the inanimate object. This one looks so good. This one, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is the winner of the bunch so far. This one definitely has all kinds of stuff you can do with it. Unfortunately, there's like an extra leg that's in the center that I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but it's all right. Again, it's here for the vibes. It's here for the imagination, right? So we're generating concepts and ideas, and yeah, I like this one a lot. You know what? You could even say that rather than some kind of a organic, rather than an organic creature, if we look a little closely, this could even be some kind of a druid backpack that's inspired by a spider, right? that could be like a heart of some kind of a plant-like creature, and these are like roots that have created spider-like legs. If you look at it, I could see that a lot. Let's open this one up in the browser, and let's swap over, and let's zoom in, and we'll take a slightly closer look. Gosh, I wish I need to maybe make a way where I can zoom in a little easier. But yeah, let's take a closer look at this one. Obviously, we're going to be limited a little bit with the zoom in just because of the resolution here. Yeah, like a nomadic herbalist traveling like a merchant. He has a druid's backpack that, right? Yeah, it looks like gnarled roots kind of expanding from this heart that is at the top center there, right? And I definitely see there's a lot of potential just being like, even the legs almost look like not necessarily like what's the word? Is it a chitin? I think that's how you pronounce it. It definitely looks like maybe some roots that have, or branches, right, that have become more solidified into like spider legs. Oh, I like that idea a lot. The roots even cover the eyes, almost the vibe of blinded by nature or protecting it. Yeah, there's you can go in all sorts of directions with that. And it's become part of the backpack. Ah, man. Your ideas can run wild with this. But yeah, I like this a lot. It's also fascinating. Like the ability for AI to create appropriate shadows too is just going to get better as the model starts to understand kind of three-dimensional space. Right now, it's really more two-dimensional image generation. But in due time, I mean, there's already models out there that are looking at kind of 3D modeling aspects and creating 3D objects. I talked about this in our previous episode too, where there's already AI models that are creating short animations. I don't know if you guys, I think, what was it? It was like a bear washing the dishes or something. There's an AI model out there that will make you a several second long video that is AI made. So, eventually when these technologies start to clash and overlap and merge together, which in the tech world, that's a high possibility with how people interact with one another in the tech world with these open projects. So, yeah, in due time, there's going to be an AI model that handles the text, and it's going to use that text in a much more accurate way. There's going to be a time where, oh, you know what? Yeah, I've been told about there's a VTuber also, right, that is AI controlled, where the AI reads chat. There's a separate AI that plays the game. I think they have a separate AI, or they're feeding in the chat logic to the text to speech, right? So the AI will then speak to you as well. I think they also have an element there that is turning the text that is spoken back to text for captions. Oh, it's so crazy. It's wild. It's blowing my mind. I really want to explore it, but it's just so much technology there that is brand new to me. It keeps up with chat better than I do. Right? Oh, no kidding. I'm terrible. Well, because it keeps up with everything, and it's funny watching it play games because it's interacting with like the menus so fast that you can't really see what it's doing. Like you can get the rough idea of the gameplay if you're familiar with the game, but as someone who's new to, I forgot what it was playing, but it was one of those roguelike dungeon games. I forget. But I watch it, I'm like, I haven't played this game. I have no idea what it's doing. It's going through like a skill tree in half a second. And I'm like, huh, okay. Well, I know how AI interacts with games, right? It goes super quick. But yeah, it was funny to see. I do think that once the people who will check that bot out is probably going to be people who like the tech of it or who want to try to troll it or play with it. But I do find that, VTubers don't really need to worry about that because unless, I would hope at least that the audience prefers to go and find a VTuber or a streamer in general, right? That they like to interact with, that they like the personality of. I think the novelty of the AI VTubing is a cool concept right now, but I can't imagine it being successful long term. But that's with the exception of if they make personalized AI VTubing channels. And what I mean by that is if they made a way where you could have like a one-on-one and you can be like, hey, VTuber AI, play this game and use this model and I want to just hang out and see what you're doing and see what choices you make and make it a very kind of personal interaction one-on-one. I think that might be a little bit of a concern, because I could see someone just being like, hey, I just want to learn the game. I just want someone to chit chat with. And if they're super antisocial, that might be an avenue that they would opt for. I could see the risk of that happening. But outside of that, I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing anyone has to really worry about. But it is super cool. I do like it a lot. I just realized this looking at the top part of the backpack. It kind of looks like a little face. I don't know if you guys see the eyes and the little horizontal line creating it. And as soon as I spotted that face, my mind went immediately to like voodoo. Like this could be some really weird voodoo infection, which that's another direction you can go in with that for sure. Oh man, fun. All right, well, let's see real quick if ChatGPT is back online. If it is, maybe we'll see if we can get some like backstory lore ideas to start expanding on. But if not, we are pushing up on the hour. Maybe this will be my first episode I'm able to keep under an hour. All right, let's reset, or not reset, refresh. No, it's still down. But yeah, backpacks, steampunk, spider legs, mimics, all sorts of wild exploration happening here. Very cool. Very cool. Ah, crazy. Man, imagine just going from object to adding a couple keywords. I know some people like to add all sorts of keywords and get super in depth with the keywords. I like the imagination the AI comes up with when you just keep it as minimal as possible. Is there a place you post those photos? I'd love that backpack. So you can actually find anything I've upscaled on my MidJourney page. So MidJourney, unless you go with like the most expensive pricing plan to have the option to keep these images private, I didn't bother doing that because, again, I mean, I'm really just using it to explore it through the series, and then I also don't really see the point of hiding it because it is, again, AI and it's currently still kind of a bit controversial. But you can go to my page here, and I'll drop the link here in the chat in a second. But yeah, anything that has been, I think there's a particular view for viewers. Yeah, so you can see the full resolution of anything that I've upscaled through the series and just my own experimenting. It does take a couple of seconds or minutes for it to appear here, but anything we've upscaled, you're going to be able to find here. So let's see here. Is there a way to provide my feed? I guess this is the link here. Let me know here. Let me know if that works. Does that link work? Go to site. Yeah, I think I don't recall if you've popped in the chat before, but no, it's good to see you. I think I recognize you from someone else. Whose channel were you in? You were was it Cody? Was it Cody's community that you were part of? I feel like I recognize your name from Discord or when I was hanging with somebody. Yeah. So yeah, no, good to have you. Good to have you. It's definitely you got a good head on you. So I'd love to see you in the future. Maybe give me some ideas here as well, because yeah, you came up with some really good stuff, really interesting stuff. I like it a lot. Yeah, it looks like that link did work. Yeah, at least it worked for me. So you can go there, check out kind of what's been made, and if you're on these episodes and kind of want to help steer the direction of what we explore, right? You guys are more than welcome to, and I recommend it. If you're watching this after the fact, right? You feel free to leave a comment in the chat. If you weren't able to hop on live, I will be reading comments. You know, we're still a fairly baby channel on YouTube, so you know the early chatters and the early commenters are more likely to get their feedback onto these shows. And I think this afternoon, I don't think I'm gonna be doing another episode today. We did a lot yesterday in preparation, and I have some ideas for future episodes that we'll explore. I still want to do another reaction video to a podcast, but again, the problem is it's an hour-and-a-half podcast that had a lot of crazy ideas. But if I do that, it's going to be like a 4 to 6 hour
stream, and that's gonna be like the only thing I do all day, right? So yeah, I need to figure out how I'm gonna do that one, because I really want to share the ideas that they talked about there. But so maybe I'll have to go through and make some bookmarks of the talking points that I want to address and share my thoughts on. But yeah, future episodes, right? Early on, we did characters, we looked at landscapes, we did space at first, then we did the like a swamp, which was Kieran, who was lurking about, his idea. We also then took some images that the community had sent me. So we did like a stick figure. We did a concept of an early version of Hero King Soul, who is another VTuber that we know of and hang out with. And then today, right, we started looking at objects. I think in the future we'll probably come back to some of these ideas, but initially, before I start doing like character, I want to definitely try to explore individual ideas. So, you know, at some point I want to do like a vehicle. We'll also look at maybe like a castle in the sky. I think would be a cool like combination of an object slash location. I want to do like a series on like alcoholic beverages, because what we all know in tabletop RPGs, there's always a scene where the party goes to a tavern or a pub or a bar and we need some drinks, and it's definitely something that I struggle with when it comes to like, hey, make a drink on the fly. So yeah, doing a series on alcoholic like beverages for, you know, those types of situations, maybe like potions and various buff debuff type potions, poisons perhaps. There's all sorts of directions that I want to, you know, play around with and get some ideas on. And part of, right, using AI generated art is part of our Horizon Exploration tabletop campaign, which is a little homebrew sci-fi campaign. Again, it's on hold at the moment due to availability of the players, but I've used AI art in that just because, again, when you're doing a campaign, I'm going to argue that the creativity is in the campaign and the experience of the GM with the players, right? So the visual assets, rather than taking it and potentially risking copyright, like direct copyright of being like, hey, I took your image to use as part of a D&D campaign, I was just like, you know what, we're just going to generate some completely random weird images through AI, and we're going to use that just to give a little bit of a vibe check, right? But now that AI artwork has come so far in the short span of a year, you know, there's a lot of controversy. I talked a little bit about the controversy in the past few episodes, so my position on it is coming from more of a kind of a just the way the world is situation, unfortunately. But I do sympathize with those that feel affected by it, right? But anyways, that's aside from the point of these episodes. But yeah, the whole point, right? We're exploring AI. We're taking a look at it. We like to invite the community and artists and creatives and nerds and geeks and all sorts of folks to come on and share their ideas and explore together. I know MidJourney, for example, the pricing plan can be steep for some people. So, you know, drop a comment, give us an idea, join us sometime. Maybe the name calling, dude, I call myself that stuff. How many times have you heard me call myself a weeb? Some people hear weeb and it's like, man, I know you're joking though. I know. Don't worry about it. Listen, anything I present out is also presented self-reflectively. So, hey, all in good fun, everybody, right? All right. Yeah, let's call it here. We're about just shy of an hour. I'm excited. We got finally a first episode that is under an hour long. So I got an IT degree. Okay, so you know your place. Yeah, so okay. You know, I'm finding out there's actually quite a few of us out there who have a bit of a more of a businessy background, right? That's just, we're fans of this community and these hobbies, and we're all grouping together. So very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I think Kieran also is, I don't know if it's necessarily IT, but definitely in the more technical space, if you consider numbers technical, right? I don't know what you would call it, Kieran. Would you consider your role technical? It's a degree of technical, right? I imagine. But yeah, technically, I suppose. I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, guys, this was episode 6 where we looked at objects, trinkets. Maybe in a future episode we'll specifically look at maybe like an amulet or a necklace or something, or maybe some rings. Those are more ideas, right? We'll see how these episodes evolve depending on who hops on and what comments we find, and you know, what kind of interaction we get with the community. But it's very community driven, it's very exploration driven, and I thank you all for joining us today. And yeah, later this afternoon, I might do like a test stream to see if Star Citizen is able to be streamed. I know I did it super early on when I had my older graphics card. I don't think I've tried it since I upgraded my graphics card. So we might jump into a little bit of Star Citizen for an hour and just be like, is it going to be like 12 frames per second or are we going to be able to get a solid 30 out of the game? Which is unfortunately kind of where the game is at. But yeah, I think today this will be the only episode for Exploring AI, but we will be again doing it tomorrow, same time, Monday through Thursday. We're going to do at least one episode, maybe two or three throughout the day. Based on our experience last week, we're probably looking at one or two episodes a day at most. I think that's been a good balance for me. Because in the evenings, if we have collaborations, we do variety, right? We play games, we do collaborate, and that's kind of the gaming moments that we have on the channel as well. So with that said, everyone out there, enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, wherever you may be coming from, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody. This has been Dregn Durant, and take it easy. Peace. Bye.